Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is April 21st, and right now where you're looking at the infrared satellite imagery, you can see the frontal system that's pushing through across the Intermountain West portions of Montana and Wyoming, now keeping the onshore flow going across the region. Had some interesting shower activity here across the central Puget Sound, some lightning across BC, but that is going to be pushing off to the east. It's going to keep some residual showers here for the next day or two, and we're going to be dealing with some troughing, but the ridge is going to be coming towards the coastline as well, and we're going to start to warm things up as we go through this week. Many areas remaining fairly dry. I'll show you the caveat to that here in a moment. But then we have another system that's going to be rolling down the west coast here as we go towards the end of the week and towards the weekend. So we'll dive into those details here as we go through the video this morning. Looking at where we are right now, you can see the clear skies for some portions of eastern Washington, eastern Oregon. You got the compressing winds off the east slopes of the Cascades there, causing that rain shadowing effect. Still some showers here across western Washington, down in towards western Oregon as well, and some of the Rocky Mountains still getting some showery activity. If we scroll all the way back through yesterday, you can see as that convergence zone there set up as we went through the afternoon hours. It's about actually about 6 o'clock right there. There's 7, 8 o'clock, and when the sun set, we still had that convergence zone ongoing right across Seattle, Lake Washington there. And we scrolled through the overnight hours, and you can see where we are right now. Now, taking a look at apparent temperature, takes wind chill into account. You can see the higher terrain is chilly, so if you're crossing the mountain passes, just kind of expect that. And you can see Spokane checking at 37, Seattle 41, Portland 45. So if we take a look at what is going on right now, it looks like it is still snowing there at Stampede Pass, light snow, freezing fog. Mullen Pass 27, it is still snowing there as well. Only a quarter-mile visibility, and yeah, you can still see some places getting some light rainfall. Looks like Everett, Arlington there, and you can kind of see up here on Whidbey Island. Yeah, it looks like it's still light rain as well. So taking a look here at snow depth in inches, it is that time of year where we do start to melt things off slowly but surely. We can still get some new snow at this time of year, but overall the trend is downward with the snow water equivalent and the snowpacks. If we scroll through kind of a 2-week period, you can kind of see some of these numbers dropping down as we go on into the early portion of May. So you got to kind of look closely to see that, but you can also see some new snowfall as I scroll through there that comes and goes as it falls and then it melts. Something interesting to see there. You can see that lightning strike just off to the northeast of Seattle. They had lightning across British Columbia, some portions of Montana as well. We didn't get any strikes there for eastern Washington or the Idaho Panhandle or any of Oregon yesterday, though. Now, speaking of lightning, if you want your own home detection system here, this has a lightning detection system on it. And for the price, this weather station does a lot of things. It is very fun to have one of these attached to your place of residence, unless you want to spend thousands of dollars on a much more expensive professional setup. This is definitely the way to go. Support the channel. Click on the link down below to save 10% off. Now, taking a look at this, I thought I'd mention this because Spokane is mentioning it, and so is Pendleton. And you got a freeze watch here for tomorrow morning. That is tomorrow, Tuesday, April 22nd. Temperatures falling to below freezing potentially, and Pendleton mentioning the same thing there as well. Frost potential for some of the Willamette Valley. Can't rule that out, maybe even for some of western Washington also. Nice stuff here from the National Weather Service, Portland, Oregon. And also, I've got links to Skywarn spotter programs on my Patreon page, which I will leave in the description below as well. So you can read about all that stuff there and check it out. And also, this is the Patreon page. I do some of my daily updates on here now. And it's a good way to help support the channel. There's also a community tab where you can go and check out some of the chat that we're having. I'm setting up a Discord channel as well. So, I can stop by periodically and maybe answer questions and just kind of get to chat with people on a little more personal level there on the Discord channel. So looking at the artificial intelligence European model, there's that trough there that we've been dealing with, onshore flow behind this system, of course, and that's continuing on. You can kind of see this trough hanging out here, though, as we go through Tuesday and on in through Wednesday. This trough wants to hang out across some of the interior areas. Could still be kicking off some showers as we go through the week, but some areas are going to warm up quite nicely as well. You can kind of see there is a ridge there, and then we've got this next trough rolling in. You can kind of see it gets split, and then we've got this bowling ball rolling down into California. This would be targeting Oregon. Some of it maybe moving up towards Washington. You can kind of see it swing across the southwest there, and then another ridge built in the wake of that system. We'll worry about the timing of that as we get a little bit closer, but you can see another ridge with another trough here across the Gulf of Alaska through next week. Kind of typical spring stuff here where you can get some nice weather, and then you can get some frontal systems here, and some of those can even pack a punch still at this time of year. But right now we are kind of been looking at some drying conditions here as we go through this upcoming week. More on that here in a moment. Getting a little bit ahead of myself. So taking a look here at the European last night's run, you can see the onshore flow and some of these showers continuing as you go through the day today. Intermountain West, and then that trough. Remember, that trough is going to be hanging out here. You can see, kind of see some of these showers firing up across some of the southern Oregon Cascades, maybe southeast Oregon, some of the Rocky Mountains, keeping some of those showers going as we go through this week. Yellowstone out there as well. But you notice that if I scroll back and forth and toggle back through, you notice Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver, BC. A lot of the areas west of the Cascades mainly dry as we go through this week and warming up, especially on Thursday. But then you see the next trough driving down here. If you remember what I talked about before, negatively tilted systems. This could be producing some lightning, especially across Oregon and the higher terrain as we go on in through a very early Friday morning and on through the day Friday. How far north will that get up into Washington? Still a good question. We'll revisit that on a daily basis until the event starts to unfold. And you can kind of see this bringing some unsettled weather here across some of Oregon, Nevada, and California as we go through the upcoming weekend. And again, how much that will affect BC, Washington, Idaho, and Montana, we'll continue to watch it. Now, a lightning flash density here. So if we scroll through this, you can kind of see this is this afternoon. You can see maybe targeting some of the Idaho Panhandle and some of western Montana, Rocky Mountains there. Then we go on in through Tuesday. Not much here across the region. We go back to Wednesday. You can kind of see that for southern Oregon and maybe some portions of Idaho as we go through Wednesday. I mentioned that trough still hanging out there. We go through Thursday. There it is again. And again, that system's going to be digging off the coast here. So maybe we'll start to kick off some lightning strikes here as we go on in through Thursday evening. And then we go through Friday, and we'll see again just how the system is going to unfold. But it does have some lightning potential here across the area, and then the trough hanging out as we go on in through next weekend. And if I show you the 500 millibar heights on the North American model, so this is the system we're dealing with now. You can kind of see the onshore flow and the shape of this trough as it moves off to the east. But a lot of time these polar lobes don't come just by themselves, and you can see another little bit of a reinforcing shot there when that trough is what I've been talking about. It's going to keep some showers going for interior areas as we go through the week. You can kind of see the shape of the trough right there, or just kind of slicing the Pacific Northwest in half, and then we go off into Tuesday afternoon there. But if we take a look at daily 2-meter max temperatures, this is for today, Monday, April 21st. There's Portland, probably up towards 60. Seattle maybe up towards 60 as well. Not too bad of a day, really. And then we go through Tuesday, a little bit of a warm-up. Look at Wednesday, we start ramping things back up again here. 70s for the Willamette Valley, maybe getting to the upper 60s for some of western Washington. You can see the terrain features warming up quite nicely. Look at the Okanagan River valleys there. The valleys up into northeast Washington, Idaho Panhandle, up into British Columbia there. You can see Treasure Valley out there towards Boise, Idaho also. So yeah, Wednesday looks like a pretty decent day. Then look at Thursday. Look at this mid-70s for Seattle, mid-70s for Portland, and these could uptrend a little bit here as well. As we go through this week. Back to Friday here, and again, depending on how that ex-frontal system comes in, we are going to be cooling down. Probably another fairly warm day there east of the mountains, and then we cool down as that trough is going to be spinning here somewhere across the western USA. But again, we'll be watching that on a daily basis. And you can also see as we go through next week, maybe we'll start to bounce back those temperatures one more time. So artificial intelligence extended outlook here. So you can see we are going to be dry except for that trough there. So Seattle, Portland, Vancouver, you're probably not going to get any rain until at least on a Thursday there. And you can see Thursday afternoon, this would have lightning potential there. Moves up Thursday night. And as we go through Friday morning, kind of spinning here. Oregon, southern Idaho kind of getting the lion's share, California and Nevada, and not much of that moving up into Washington on recent model runs here, but we will be watching, as I mentioned. And then as we go through next week, maybe some frontal systems into western BC, clipping portions of the region as well. But, we'll take that with a grain of salt. We'll worry about that as we get closer. Here's the next 15-day total precipitation in inches. You see Seattle about 0.8 of an inch, something similar for Portland. Higher for the higher terrain. You can see the Columbia Basin there getting largely skunked, and some of the Rocky Mountains getting some precipitation. But what does that mean as far as the anomaly concerned? How much different from normal is that? Well, you can see it is, fairly dry, relatively speaking, where we're supposed to be at this time of year over the next couple of weeks. And the 6 to 10 day, there's that near normal here and a little bit of a mixed bag. You can kind of see 6 to 10 day precipitation. That differs from what we just looked at here. So we got some discrepancy, and then the 8 to 14 day above, and then above average precipitation as well. So yeah, we do have some discrepancies between the models and what the Climate Prediction Center is showing. This was Cocoa Raws here. So if I click on that, you can kind of see 24-hour precipitation amounts. You can also Google that, COCORAHS, and you can become a Cocoa Raws observer as well. So I won't go into detail on that. I actually did a video on this at one point also, and I think that might still be on the channel. But anyway, if not, I'll take a look at that and see if it is. But yeah, you can become your, you can take observations at your house and send them in, and some of the weather stations will actually automatically update some of this also. Here's the month-to-date high temperature anomaly. Look at the Pacific Northwest. We're actually above normal for the month of April, most locations anyway. This doesn't get too close, but yeah, you can kind of see that. And again, that is the max temperature anomaly. If we go to 2 meter temperature month to date, you can kind of still see that signal is there, but it is lessened. Then you go to minimum temperature anomaly, and it's much more close to average for much of the region. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.